Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your source material, cut through the noise, and give you the critical insights. Today we're looking at something pretty unique. High school. But at sea. It's the Blue Water Academy, the BWA program. Our sources really map out this ambitious setup for grade 11 and 12 students. They're sailing the globe, learning leadership, academics, self-reliance. But the real story here, the thing that makes this deep dive compelling, is this unexpected crisis, a maritime emergency that really pushed everyone to their absolute limits. It tested whether all that training actually, paid off.
It's the ultimate stress test, isn't it? So the BWA program uses this large working ship, the Inspiration. Now, the name's fictional, but the story. It draws from a real tradition of these educational sailing ships. And it has echoes, definitely, of the Concordia incident back in 2010.
Right, the ship that sank.
Exactly. But what people often forget is that even though the ship was lost, everyone on board survived. And that says a lot, I think, about how crucial these rigorous safety procedures are. They really work.
Okay, so let's start before things get crazy. How does a teenager even get onto a ship like the Inspiration? It sounds pretty elite.
Well, for a lot of them, the dream starts kind of cinematically. You know the old sailing movie, White Squall?
Oh, yeah, from the 60s? Classic.
That often plants the seed, that romantic idea of adventure and learning at sea. But getting accepted, that's much less romantic. It's tough.
Yeah, we see that with Melissa's story in the sources.
Yeah.
Really detailed applications, right? And a pretty intense interview, sometimes with Kathleen Tuddy, an alumna who became the director.
That's right. And it's not just about your grades. They're looking at your character, your disposition.
Makes sense.
And the rejection rate is steep. The sources say about a third of the kids who get interviewed don't get any further.
Wow. So Melissa, choosing her drama teacher for a reference, that was calculated.
Absolutely strategic. She wanted to highlight her ability to stay cool under stress. Little did she know how incredibly important that specific skill would actually become later on.
So they make it through, they get accepted, they step onto the deck, and reality hits. This ship, the Inspiration, it's described as a 3-masted barkentine rig. What does that actually mean for a student?
It means work. Hard physical labor. This isn't some cruise ship. It's a traditional sailing vessel. Square sails on one mast, fore and aft on the others.
Okay.
The point of the barkentine rig really is that the students are the power source. They have to sail it. It's demanding.
And the daily routine sounds relentless. 7:30 a.m. breakfast, 8:00 a.m. color. What's colors?
Colors is basically the morning assembly on deck. They review the day's plan, the ship's status, assignments,
Gotcha. Then it's classes, maintenance, sailing duties, meals. It just doesn't stop.
Exactly. And they're learning constantly. That phrase, learning the ropes, it's literal here. They have to memorize 134 different lines, know what each one does, where it is.
134. Wow.
Yeah. So you can imagine the exhaustion. Any downtime, any so-called free time, it just becomes nap time because their sleep is constantly broken up by night watch duties.
That brings up a point, though. You've got high schoolers, teenagers, running on fumes sometimes. Is it really responsible to put them on night watch in potentially critical roles?
Well, that's kind of the core philosophy, or maybe the tension of the BWA model, isn't it? The idea is that you only develop real leadership by facing real responsibility, real risks. But, and this is crucial, the safety protocols are supposed to be absolute, non-negotiable.
Like Captain Marzinski's rule. All hands on deck.
Exactly. If sailing conditions change suddenly, everything stops. Academics, maintenance, whatever, everyone focuses on managing the ship. Safety first.
And the drills seem constant, too. Fire drills, Embo Me Man Overboard drills, abandoned ship drills.
Continuously. The focus on safety is intense. The sources mention the ship needs annual checks by Lloyd's Register. That's a big deal for international standards.
Right.
The captain's strict about safety harnesses, too, and generally, students aren't forced to climb higher in the rigging than they feel comfortable.
Generally. Is there an exception?
Yeah, there's one mandatory thing called tatty peeling.
Teddy peeling. Yeah. Sounds like kitchen duty. Potatoes.
No, nothing like that. It's climbing high up in the rigging, often in pretty awkward windy spots, to scrape rust off the metalwork.
Okay, so it's not about potatoes, it's about pushing boundaries.
Exactly. It's designed to make them confront discomfort, maybe fear of heights. It's character building, but it's also, preparation, getting them used to handling stress before a real emergency hits.
That makes sense. It shows how integrated everything is. The classes, anthropology, marine biology, history, they tie directly to where they're sailing. Trekking in Patagonia, exploring ruins near Mount Olympus.
Yeah, the learning is very hands-on, very contextual.
But there's also this interesting debate within the staff about the educational model itself.
Oh, definitely. You see this friction between Anika, the shipboard director, and Dave, one of the teachers.
Anika really champions the private school approach, right?
Yeah.
Small classes, that 10.1 ratio, individual attention.
Right.
She credits it for her own success.
She does. She argues it offers something you just can't get in a large public system. But Dave pushes back.
He argues for equal opportunity, the value of public schools.
Right. It's that classic debate. Does this kind of intense character development require such an exclusive, expensive setting? Or should that opportunity be broader?
A debate they're having while these kids are, living this intense life. But it's not all work and philosophy, apparently.
No, thankfully not. There are still moments of, well, normal teenage life breaking through.
Like Melissa and Pierre. They connect instantly right at the dock, sharing ice cream, finding their strides matched, a bit of romance blooming.
Yeah, right from the start. And then you have the classic maritime traditions, which are huge for morale.
Like crossing the Tropic of Cancer, they do a celebratory jump drill.
Yep, and crossing the equator is even bigger. That whole initiation ritual, turning the inexperienced pollywogs into seasoned shellbacks.
With King Neptune and the bosun's locker involved.
Yeah.
Sounds elaborate.
It is. It's partly fun, partly team building, forging that camaraderie that's absolutely essential when you're relying on each other at sea.
So they're building this tight-knit, resilient community,
Yeah.
completely unaware that something really dangerous is heading their way. Let's shift gears now. Talk about the other side of this story, the criminals.
Right. This starts completely separate from the school ship. It's pure crime. 6 guys, led by Stefano and Juan, their plan, steal a massive shipment of cocaine, like 1,000 pounds worth $100 million, from a cartel convoy in Colombia. They stage a traffic accident as cover.
And they need a boat. They steal a motor yacht, the 2 Ys, in Costa Rica. Then they disguise it poorly as the coincidence.
Yep. The plan is to take the drugs all the way to Easter Island. But like a lot of criminal plans, it starts going wrong almost immediately.
During the actual ambush in Colombia.
Stefano, the leader, gets shot accidentally by a ricochet from his own side, hits him in the leg, and worse, they kill 6 cartel guards during the shootout.
And they bury the bodies. Severo and Esteban dig a grave.
Yeah, so now they've got a wounded leader, a major complication with the murders, and their timeline is shot.
Plus, Phillip, their boat guy, realizes they don't have enough fuel to make it to Easter Island, after all.
Right, huge miscalculation. They're forced to divert, looking for fuel near Punta Magdalena, about 90 miles north of their planned route. And that diversion puts them directly in the path of the inspiration.
Okay, so the paths converge. The inspiration first gets a call about a genuine medical situation on another ship, the Great Princess.
Yeah, Dr. Williams is prepping for that. But then, almost immediately, another call comes in. It's the coincidence.
And Phillip, on the radio, he lies about the injury, doesn't he? He just says they need urgent medical help, doesn't mention the gunshot wound, which is now badly infected.
Exactly. He plays on maritime tradition, the duty to render aid.
So Dr. Williams heads over in a Zodiac, expecting maybe a heart attack or appendicitis.
And the moment he steps onto the coincidence, Phillip pulls a gun. It flips instantly from a rescue mission to a hostage situation.
They force the doctor to operate on Stefano right there, in the yacht's tiny first aid room.
Under duress, yeah. And using the limited supplies, the inspiration could quickly send over the sources mentioned Diprovan and Etomidate. Powerful drugs, but he's working in terrible conditions.
And after the makeshift surgery,
Phillip takes full control. He forces the inspiration crew to rig up tow lines, essentially commandeering the school ship to tow his damaged yacht.
this just escalates so fast. From a distress call to armed hijacking, it feels like a breakdown of basic trust at sea.
It absolutely is. But then comes this incredible twist of fate. Almost ironic. A failure in the BWA's own discipline actually becomes their potential salvation.
You mean Mac, the bosun. He's missing when the hijackers take over the bridge.
Exactly. He wasn't where he was supposed to be. He'd apparently snuck off for a drink and was resting in his locker, a clear breach of rules. But it meant he wasn't captured with the others.
He was unaccounted for.
Right. And when he realizes what's happening, sees the coincidence being tied alongside, he makes a split-second decision.
He doesn't surrender. He slips across to the coincidence during the confusion.
Yeah, incredibly risky. He hides aboard the hijacker's boat, and that's where he finds the cocaine bales. He puts it all together.
And then he uses their satellite phone.
Their own sat phone. He calls Kathleen Tutty, the director back in Montreal. He uses a prearranged code word, hiccups.
Hiccups. Wow. And that one word triggers everything.
It tells Kathleen something is seriously wrong. Mac then feeds her critical intel. The yacht's real name, 2 Ys, the fact it's disguised, its likely route, the drugs, everything.
And Kathleen, back on shore, she doesn't hesitate. She gets straight onto the RCMP, the DEA.
Instantly. And that information is gold. It allows the authorities to connect the dots back to Colombia, find the ambush site, confirm the murders, even locate the grave. Suddenly, law enforcement knows exactly who they're dealing with and what they've done.
But the crew and students on the Inspiration, they don't know any of this yet. They think they're on their own.
Right, so they come up with their own plan. Resourceful, they decide to create a diversion.
The coffee night, a student talent show to distract the hijackers watching them polo Esteban Severo.
Exactly, keep them occupied. And while that's going on...
Pierre steps up, the same student who connected with Melissa right at the start.
Yeah. And this is where that BWA training really pays off directly. He uses the climbing harness, the carabiners, all the gear he learned to use for rigging.
To traverse the tow line between the ships in the dark. That's incredibly brave.
It really is. But it's not just bravery. It's applied skill under immense pressure. He gets across to the coincidence, finds Mac, and gets a walkie-talkie.
Giving them internal communication. They can coordinate now.
Precisely. They're fighting back from the inside.
But Stefano, the wounded leader on the coincidence, he's recovering slightly and decides to change his plan.
Yeah, he wants to cut ties with the Inspiration. He orders his men to disable its power, its steering, basically leave the school ship adrift.
A terrifying prospect. And he decides to take hostages with him.
For insurance, yeah. He grabs Dr. Williams and Anika, the shipboard director. His plan is to make a run for Easter Island on the coincidence with his crew and the hostages.
But the Inspiration crew isn't helpless. Mac had planted something.
Yes, a hidden emergency beacon. They activate it, that's the signal.
An Air Force plane spots them, drops a VHF radio package,
giving them direct contact with rescuers. And that allows the final pieces to fall into place.
The Coast Guard cutter, the Serendipity, intercepts the coincidence.
It's the end game. The hijackers try to use Anika and Dr. Williams as human shields.
But the Coast Guard captain calls their bluff.
Completely. He gets on the radio and basically lays it all out. We know who you are. We know the boat's stolen. We know about the drugs. We know about the murders in Colombia. We know your names.
Game over.
Total checkmate. They know they have nowhere to run, nothing left to bargain with. They surrender.
The hostages are safe. The hijackers arrested. Incredible outcome.
Truly. But what's maybe even more remarkable is what happens next.
After they're towed to Easter Island.
The students and the crew, they hold a vote. And unanimously, they decide to continue the voyage, finish what they started.
Wow. After all that trauma, that speaks volumes about their resilience and maybe the effectiveness of the program, despite everything.
It suggests the training, the mindset they'd built, it really did take hold. They found strength in sticking together and finishing the mission.
And crucial to the rescue was how Kathleen handled things on shore.
Right.
Keeping it quiet.
Absolutely critical. She notified parents only after the hijackers were safely in custody. No media leaks, no panic that could have jeopardized the delicate tactical situation. That containment was as important as the Coast Guard intervention.
So looking back at the whole thing, it really feels like a validation, in a way, of the BWA concept. The professional crew captain, Dr. Mack, were superb. But then you had a student, Pierre, using his direct training and the onshore support, like Kathleen, making vital calls.
Exactly. It was a combination of factors. The training was essential, yes, but so was adaptability, bravery, and clear thinking under fire from everyone involved. It wasn't just one thing.
We started off asking about the value of this kind of intense, exclusive training. We saw the debate between Anika and Dave. Now, seeing how it played out, it leads to a final thought, doesn't it? The BWA program is designed to build leaders, make kids self-sufficient. They certainly face an extreme test. But does surviving something that traumatic, that violent, does it always build character? Or is there a point where the sheer terror, the life and death reality, just overwhelms any idea of educational value?
That's the fundamental question, isn't it? When does extreme challenge become purely destructive trauma? Does the crucible always strengthen, or can it shatter? Something for you, the listener, to think about.
An important question indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.